Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, my friends. Good evening. This is Angie Stewart from Mia InnerLight, here live in Kardec Radio. Hold on 1 second. I forgot to turn on. Yes, very good. Now everything is on. Super happy to be here with you again. We had technical difficulties last week, so we couldn't really hear. Actually, you guys couldn't hear me, and I had no idea. So today, before I talk too much, can anyone please just write in the comments if you can hear me well, if everything is good, because I don't want to talk so much like last week. Like I think I was on for 15 minutes, and then, oh, good, Matthew, I was actually searching for you. My assistant. So you can hear fine. That's so good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy. This is awesome. Very good. So everything is working fine. Super happy to be here with you guys. This is our book, Among Brothers of Other Lands, like this. Yeah, like this is better. And it is almost finishing. Look, we only have tonight and 2 more chapters to go, and that's it. That's it. We finished this beautiful book. Very important lessons for life. We will never forget about it. And we are also studying this book, The Gospel According to Spiritism. Let me put this aside. The Gospel According to Spiritism. And this book is super important. This book is a lifetime, this is a forever book, because this book helps us with our daily lives, our daily issues, our problems with forgiveness, our problems with anger. So this book will continue. And exciting news. We are having a new format. So as soon as the other book finishes, this is the book. This is the book we are going to study. What is Spiritism? So this book is great, not just to people that really don't know what is Spiritism. They just heard of it and they have no idea. But this book is also good for people that are already familiar with Spiritism, but it doesn't really know a lot of details of it, like how it started, why it started, and why people were so against it, and why our people were so in love with it. And this book gives us all the basic information so we can have an enlightened conversation explaining how it started, why, and also being able to talk about it, not to fight about it, not convincing anyone, but just explaining the important points to anyone that would like to know more, or just say, okay, good for you, bye. But this is a great book for all of us. So in the new format, we will be studying this book for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and we will have 2 guests to be able to comment the last 15 minutes of the gospel. So it will be much more exciting. We will spend more time in the gospel, but we will also have 2 more people, not just me. Aren't you guys super excited not to see just me forever? I am super excited. So our first guests will be Nora and Teresa. They were also here. They also prayed with us. And I would love to invite more people to participate. And we have different guests on a weekly basis. So let's see how it will be. But tonight we have a friend. Let me bring him. So here we have Marcio. And Marcio is our friend that's going to be doing our prayer tonight. So, hey, Marcio.
Hey, hi everybody.
Very good. We are so happy that tonight it's working. This is great. Yeah. We tried last week and we had all kinds of issues, didn't work, but tonight, yay, that's awesome.
Yeah, so far so good. I'm very glad to be here.
And, very good. Thank you, Marcio. So, Marcio, just tell very quickly to our friends how long we know each other.
Yeah, well, we met like maybe 18, 19 years ago. And we were part of a Spiritism studying group weekly. And through that time, it was just wonderful. We were, at least myself, never had been so involved in Spiritism so much as that when I started those days. Yeah. Although, of course, not of course, but since I was a teenager, I always liked to read about everything. But Spiritism was the one who caught me, and I got that a deep interest in the reading and
the philosophy.
Yes, and that was what made me to be what I am now.
Yeah,
and the guidance that I have and the light I try to follow is based in this Spiritism doctrine that is great part of my life, and maybe it's my life. So
yeah, no, for me too. I have to say that before Spiritism, I was much more wild. I'm still wild, but I was much more like a really uncontrollable. I'm like, oh, when I remember, I'm like, oh my God. And of course, I always say that when we are younger, we are more out of control. So age helps with certain things.
Yes, but you know, in the past we were, I think people were a little bit more innocent in things. We were silly, I would say. And even though those silly things was just nothing really that would compromise our growing up and our development.
Yes, no, it's true.
More and more I feel that how important it is to have some kind of spiritual.
Yeah, no, especially now in this time of pandemic that everybody's like freaking out, going crazy, so stressed out. I believe that it does not need to be Spiritism. We are Spiritists, but when you have some kind of faith, you kind of calm down because you know it's not your fault, it's not somebody else's fault. This is something that had to happen, and you have faith that you will be able to go through it in the best way possible. That's why we pray. And we have to behave too. If you start going to wild parties, then it's different.
But I'm very glad to have a chance to haven't met most of the people yet, but I have.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that everybody is excited to see you because we are in the WhatsApp group. If you guys don't know, I have a small, private WhatsApp group, and we study Spiritism and we do charity, and Marcio is a part of it. So everybody's like, oh, this is Marcio. So it's very good. So Marcio, right now you're living in Connecticut or Pennsylvania?
I live in West Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay, West Hartford, okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
For the last 2 years. And before that, I lived in Brooklyn like you did too. Had years there. And then you moved to New Jersey. I spent some time in Brazil too.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. Okay, my friends, let's go now. Let's do our initial prayer. It's 9:10. We're a little late. So let's just, if you are new to the channel, please, I really would like you could have some glass of water, cup of water. So we believe that the spirits, they will send some positive energies to your water, and this will be able to be used as your medication through the week. So if your bottle finished, before totally finished, replenish with water, do a prayer, and it will be your medication. So before I say hello to everybody, let's just calm down and relax for 1 minute. God, our Mother and Father, thank you so much for bringing us here together this night. We ask you for your positive vibrations, your love, your help, guiding us to be able to go through the studies in the best way possible, sharing our knowledge, our studies, and helping our friends to benefit from it, to enjoy, and to have a good participation. Please send these vibrations to all the persons that wanted to be here but for some reason couldn't, and also to the friends that will be listening to this in the recorded audio. Thank you so much. So be it. Very good. Very good, Marcio. So I will see you back in a few minutes. Bye-bye. Okay, my friends, let's go. Oh, let me just say hello before. So Matthew, my secretary, my assistant, nice to see you here. Alexandre, hello, my buddy. Nice to see you here, my dear neighbor. Saul Souza, hey, Saul, you're always here too. Hey, Teresa. So Teresa and Nora. So girls, I already announced to everybody that you are going to be the two people studying the gospel with me in 2 weeks, because we only have more 2 chapters to complete, and then we start the new book. Okay, so if you can get it, what is Spiritism? So let's go. So tonight we are doing chapter 40th, and the title is Obsession. So everybody, when hears the word obsession, everybody gets afraid. It's almost like it's some kind of horror movie. But in reality, it is not. When you think about obsession, it's good that the spirit is Ernest O'Brien. He gives us a different perspective. It's beautiful the way he explains things to us. But the obsession is not that you have like a monster following you and making you to do things. But it is a person that now is in the spiritual realm, meaning this person died and is in the spiritual realm. But you both are connected because you both did not forgive. He didn't forgive you, or you didn't forgive him. We don't know exactly the details, but this connects you. So it is important for you, for me, for anyone to really try the best to improve your moral conduct, not just your intellectual, but your morality. Because whenever we start improving our obsessors or our spiritual friends that are not that friendly, they will start observing us and they will see, strange, because Angela, the wild, crazy monster Angela, seems a little bit better. But I will keep looking, I will keep observing to see if she really is better or not. So in the meantime, you help others, you try to be as positive as possible, and you practice charity, but we don't know what we did in the past. So maybe in the past you were really a very tough person and you made like a bad mistake and you hurt really, really bad someone. So just try to imagine if something like this had happened to you, how would you be behaving right now? When you imagine that that person is having a wonderful life right now, but in the past, that person committed murders, that person stole all your money. I'm just giving hypotheses just for you to think, because when you read the beautiful romances from the spirits books, many different ones, then you see how intricate the things are. It's really like a soap opera, but it's a soap opera that actually really happened. So it's like, wow. But the most important thing for us to understand is that the obsessor is just a person that is feeling hurt. So it's angry because he feels hurt, and he feels he suffered more than he should. And he imagines that you didn't pay for whatever you did. So he or she is trying to make you clear your debts through his negative influence. This is what more or less is obsession. But let's see what Ernest O'Brien tells us. So let's go. Certainly, you ought to look ahead and not back when new discoveries show horizons unlimited. Everything affirms the machine's power. Men now have inventions in order to follow the scientific revolution. But in the entire world around us, there is a large spiritual darkness. Everywhere we can observe frustration, doubt, bereavement, and the fear of the future. People today like new rich and new poor in spiritual truth. Science is lightening up the outside of life, while crises of anxiety are hurting inside. The world to us seems an immense search under assault of dangerous enemies of the soul. What can be done about this? Do we sit down and applaud it? When I deny help to my neighbor, I deny it to myself. We shall enter more into this problem because we are immersed in it. Here and there, we must go out of the way to aid the discouraged and helpless fellow man. After death, in the spirit world, we realize this. What about you? You and I can be firm in truth, but no one of us is guiltless. We fail more frequently than we think. In other words, we easily fall into weakness, selfishness, intolerance, cruelty, or impatience. Whenever it happens, the obsessing spirits bring to you their influence. Insanity can appear. Then you must pray in order to find the practical way of freeing yourself. Above all, be cooperative. Look for the good. You can help others because you are never alone. Whenever you need help, God is at hand. The inferior spirit must become a true man before he can be an angel. That's really good. All these so-called devils are human beings. Let us bless them, give them more love. July 15, 1965, New York City, New York, USA. So, if you're new to our study, it's very short text, 2 pages. So I read everything and now I will start commenting. So please feel free to write any comments, any questions, so we can interact a little bit. I can't wait so I can have like a bigger group, bigger interaction. You guys have no idea how this pandemic time is tough on me. You know, people that really love to be in groups, it's very hard because you have to be quiet, just with your family, just walking the dogs. Yes, but I cannot complain because life is beautiful. We are in Florida. The sun is beautiful. We can walk, and at least we are healthy. So we have always to think about others, because others might be passing by a situation 1,000 times worse. They might be unemployed. They might be not having money to pay their next month rent, really counting dollars to be able to buy food. So this is happening throughout the world, and we are all in different situations. So I joke when I say that this is hard for me, but I feel very blessed because my situation is really good. So I continue with our prayers at 10 p.m. I'm not sure if you guys are still doing, but every day at 10 p.m. I pray for our planet. I pray for all the doctors and nurses that are still working so hard, for all the people that are still getting very, very sick, even if the majority are not, the ones who are getting sick, it's very difficult. So it's a very hard time for us. We have to be connected in positive things, in love, and in hope for better days. And when we are positive, when we pray, if you don't believe in God, but you believe in the energy, because a lot of people tell me this, they don't believe in God, but they believe in a superior energy. So pray for the superior energy to help us, because I know it's almost like a cliche. We went inside the situation, we have to live better, but it is true. We have to live this in a better way. We have to have gone through this problem, and we have to imagine, what can I be better tomorrow? How did I improve? What changed within me? So one thing is that we were doing this much before, these video conferences, these video studies. But suddenly, from one day to the other, the whole planet had to do it. Not just like we are doing, like entertainment, because this is a study, but for some people, it's almost like an entertainment. But suddenly, people had to do work. Now is school, and suddenly the whole family is live in a internet live. So the world changed, and the adaptation, the quick adaptation, was very important, and is still happening, because here in the United States, the schools just restarted, and it's not easy. My son is a teenager, so it's easier. But I know friends who have little kids. Sometimes they even have like a 2-3-year-old running in the house, and then they have a 6-year-old that needs to be paying attention in the computer. So very, very challenging times to everybody. So my friends, let's go here. So if you guys want to make comments, please just write it down, because I'm not on Facebook, so I cannot see if you are just appearing there and giving hearts, because I actually don't see any hearts and anything. I just see whatever you guys write down. So what Nora mentioned here, even in South Texas, we have nice cool breezy today. That's good. So Nora, here's Matthew. Is another South Texas guy. You guys need to see which cities you are. So Matthew said, "Can I ask what that occasional screeching is?" Oh my God! I can't believe that you hear that. I have so many alarms in my house, really many, and everywhere. And I have one in each room, and 2 or 3 in this corridor, and then the next corridor. We don't know which one needs to change the battery. I can't believe you guys can hear. So I need to change the battery. So let's go. Let's go to the beginning. So he mentions that certainly you ought to look ahead and not back, where new discoveries show horizons unlimited. So he is mentioning the new discoveries that the science is making every single day, and it is amazing when we think how things are like this. Like nowadays we can talk to people through a cell phone. And like 10 years ago, it's like, what? It's impossible. So things are so fast nowadays that's hard for us to believe. The young people know much more of computers than us. And I remember I was the one who knew a lot and used to teach my parents, but now it's my son teaching me. It's like this nowadays. And then he continues. Everything affirms the machine's power. Men now have inventions in order to follow the scientific revolution. But in the entire world around us, there is a large spiritual darkness. So this is just what I said. Science is evolving super quickly. But as the spirits always tell us about evolution, they always say the intellectual part evolves much faster than the moral part of the human beings. So we as humanity become intelligent, intellectual, much faster than we become moral, evolved. And we know that to become one day a superior spirit, we need to have both equally. We need to have intelligence, but we also need to have morality. And right now, we are still in the intellectual process. But it's good too. It is good too. But one day we have to speed it up, the moral side. And then he continues, everywhere we can observe frustration, doubt, bereavement, and fear of the future. So it's almost like people are developing a lot of anxiety. And you know, this message here was written in 1965, but it's totally 2020 because people are becoming more and more anxious about the future, especially because of the pandemic, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we are all like that. You go to walk the dog, someone coughs near you, you almost have a heart attack. Like, oh, because you don't know. You don't know. I remember the time we used to celebrate and every birthday person blew the candles. Nowadays, it's almost forbidden. You do this, nobody's going to touch the cake. So life is changing. We have to readapt, but we cannot live in this constant fear, in this constant negativity of not knowing what's going to happen. It's important for us to really develop a strong faith. In Spiritism, we also know that nothing happens by a chance. So, Divaldo Franco, the biggest medium alive in Brazil right now, he made lots and lots of live videos talking about it. He even mentioned about himself. He said he's 93 years old, 93. And he mentioned, if I get coronavirus and if I die from coronavirus, it's because if it was my time to go. And then he explains that he is not searching for confusion. He's not exposing himself to anything. He's really trying to protect himself, trying to do the best he can to avoid the disease. But if for whatever reason he got it and he died from it, it's because his time had arrived and he had to go. So we have to think about this with everything. because we start getting into this panic mode. Oh, if this person die, oh, if that person die, oh, if I get sick. We don't know. But if something like this happens, you have to remain calm, you have to pray, you have to understand this happened for a reason. If the person is not exposing him or herself, it happened for a reason. I know it's very difficult, it's very painful, it's a very challenging time, because you cannot go close to the person. There are certain things that have to be done. It's very difficult. So we have to, more than ever, we have to be really, really strong within our faith, praying and trying to protect ourselves, but also the people around us, the ones that we love, so we don't contaminate them, we don't get contaminated. So this is a few things that can help us with this anxiety that can be building up and bringing us actually extra stress. And we know that the stress brings some kind of psychosomatic disease. So if you continue like that, your physical body will demonstrate disease in somewhere. It's almost like you can imagine like a volcano. You know, a volcano is like it's gonna explode. It's gonna explode. Usually goes up, but sometimes it goes to the sides. And this is like us. You know, something in your body will happen. So let's try our best to avoid it. And then people today, like new rich and new poor in spiritual truth. Science is lighting up the outside of life, while crises of anxiety are hurting people. So that's exactly what I just commented. You know, the science is making the best cell phones, TVs, Wi-Fi, live. I think science is getting so amazing that soon we are going to be able to do like the Jetsons. I remember the Jetsons had like a little machine they took and they popped something, and there was a 3D picture, like a 3D picture of the person they were talking. Oh, maybe it was a watch. So it was just like, oh. But if you Google Jetsons and you watch any of the cartoons, you will see the things they were imagining that time. They are all happening nowadays. Even one product that I really was like my dream. When you put your nails in a machine and the machine paints your nails, it's like, yes, it exists. Isn't that amazing? So intellectually, we are evolving quickly, but morally, we continue in the shadows. That's what we need to improve. The world to us seems an immense search under assault of dangerous enemies of the soul. And then, what can be done about this? Do we sit down and applaud it? When I deny help to my neighbor, I deny it to myself. So this is also important, because I was mentioning charity, how important it is for us to be charitable, compassionate, to put ourselves on the shoes of somebody else. Like, imagine if this type of thing was happening to me, would I be happy? How would I react to this? So this brings us also to what happened, especially here in America, when so many people are feeling so much pressure. The Black community have been under pressure, under prejudice for such a long time, and we just never notice much. Yes, there are so many other issues. I can talk about the Latin community. I can talk about so many other ones. But we have to agree that for them, it's even more difficult. It's very painful. So when we put ourselves in their shoes, imagine if that had happened to me, how would I feel? And then we start developing these compassionate feelings, and start changing the ways we think, the ways we behave, the ways we see life, because we all want all lives matter, because all lives matter, of course, but there is a historical difference between many different types of people, especially in America. So I think this time, like the coronavirus and this revolution in the US happened for a reason. So even if it's painful, I think it's good. I think things are changing. Improvement is coming, especially within us. We will be more compassionate when we see something. We can defend people, not just accusing, but we can also stop and hear the side of the other person, hear and try to understand, to be able to have a better dialogue instead of like start accusing somebody else immediately. So when he mentions here, when I deny help to my neighbor, I deny to myself. This is one of the things we talk in Spiritism, because in this lifetime, your neighbor is your neighbor. But who knows, maybe in many previous lifetimes, that neighbor was a family member, or someone you loved, or someone you had tough issues. So if you deny help to someone that needs, you might be hurting someone that was actually very close to you. When we start with that type of thought, oh no, it's just my neighbor, I can't do that, then you act different. I just have to give you a story, a very powerful story I saw many months ago. I don't remember really well, but it was more or less like this. There were two neighbors, and one neighbor had 4 kids, and the other had 3 kids. So the ones who had 3 kids was a couple, and the one that had 4 kids was a single mother. And they lived there in the same next door houses, or like 3 doors away, for many years. So the kids were almost like best friends because they were very close in age. And they used to do a lot of sleepovers, or the kids from family A went there, or the kids from family B came over. And then one day, the lady that was the single mother discovered she had terminal cancer. And she went desperate because she had no family, no husband, no family. So she started immediately thinking, what's going to happen to my 4 kids? 4 kids. And they were not teenagers. They were really young. Like, I think the youngest was like a 3 or 4, and then the oldest was like 10. So it was like a very, very difficult. And she had to do a series of chemotherapy. She had to spend a long time in the hospital. And the family A told her, you can leave the kids here. We are going to take care. So take care of your treatment. The months passed, but unfortunately, her disease was increasing. That was like no hope. And the family A felt so compassionate for that woman that they said, if she die, we cannot let these kids to be put for adoption. And the most amazing thing happened. They adopted all her kids. So they went from 3 kids to 7 kids. And the amount of love was so unbelievable that I was just thinking, my goodness, this was like such a beautiful act of love. Because imagine, put yourself in the shoes of this family. Your life is all organized. You have 3 kids, they are all going to school, everything is settled, and suddenly you become with 7 kids, everything has to change. And they didn't think about that. The only thing they thought was about helping and be able to keep the kids, the brothers and sisters, together and with them. This was like a beautiful, beautiful act of love and charity. 2 neighbors, they were not family members. So this was so beautiful. Just a story for you guys to connect. And then we have here and there, we must go out of our way to aid the discouraged and helpless fellow man. So this is where we can do our part, you know, when you have a friend that calls you, that's upset for whatever reason, instead of just saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I cannot talk to you right now, I'll call you tomorrow. And then you never call because you're like, oh, I don't want to bother. I don't know what he wants, but probably is to complain about something. But we have to go out of our way to extend a hand. Maybe that friend really needed to hear a loving word. And when you just think it's nothing important, or when you think more of yourself than the others, this is a problem. Because maybe one day the same type of thing could happen to you. Maybe one day in the future, you will call someone to ask him for help, and the person will be like this, oh, I can't do right now. So this is why I always like to say that the real friends, the good friends, you can count in the fingers of one hand, because you can know, it's like nowadays in social media, you can know hundreds, thousands of people. But if you go in a period of trouble, of turmoil, you only can call very, very limited number of people. And usually these 5 fingers, you will find someone from your family. Because families are that. We have fights, we have all kinds of issues. But if there is love, you will be able to count with that person, even if that person still have hard time dealing with you because of some situation. So this is just for us to think. So after death, in the spirit world, we realize this. What about you? So after death is when we wake up in the spiritual realm, and then we see the amount of charity we could have done, the amount of love we could have done, and how we would have benefited from it. And you know, don't need to be anything like huge. You don't need to donate thousands of dollars for a certain cause. Just the thing I just said, your friend is in distress, just taking the time to talk to this person, to give like some positive ideas, to say, let's pray together, or to say, like, don't think like this, something will help, will change. So just this is already an act of charity. Another quick example, because our time like flies. I already mentioned a few times that in my WhatsApp group, we started this loving mail for the elderly. And we write letters for the elderly. And when they receive a nurse or an aide, or someone reads for them, and then helps them to write back to us. And this is very simple projects. It's super, super simple. It's just a simple letter. But the head of the nursing home, she writes me, the social worker, and she mentions that some of the elderly have our letters like trophies. They ask any person that goes inside their bedroom to read the letter. They have the letter memorized because people already read so many times. They have that letter memorized. So this is just for you to see that a piece of paper with few words from someone they never heard about. It's not a family member, it's someone they don't even know how the person looks like. And they have that with like a very precious gift. So imagine the amount of love that we are receiving because we are the ones who sent this very simple letter, and we are receiving all this love. And then you start connecting with the chain. Imagine the family members, incarnated and discarnated, from this person, that are seeing how happy this person got because of our letter. So they are also sending us these loving vibrations. And that's how a beautiful, loving, charitable act expands. Because you give love, but you receive so much more than what you did. So this is beautiful. But many times we only realize it when we go to the great beyond, because when we are there, we don't have to think about physical bodies, work, house, car, whatever. You don't need to think about any of that. So you will feel and you will think only about the good deeds you did, and the bad deeds, unfortunately, you did. So you will be reflecting a lot. And your spiritual guides will be showing you, oh, Angela, you did very good here. You're happy. But here, that was not that good. You could have done so much better. But you didn't do because you're kind of lazy. Yes, many times we think, oh, I'm doing so much. No, you're probably not doing even, you're probably doing like 10% of what you promise you would be doing. So this is for us to reflect, and most of all, act, not just stay in your meditational state. Wake up and say, today I will do this, this, and this. Doesn't matter what. Just say and do it. That's what we need. So you and I can be firm in truth, but no one of us is guiltless. So there is no angels. Nobody suffers without a previous cause. Remember, the cause and effect. So if something negative is happening, it's because there is something that we did. So if this negativity is connected with something we did in this life or in a previous life, there is no angel here suffering, because we are all guilty. In certain levels, we are all guilty of something. We fail more frequently than we think. In other words, we easily fall into weakness, selfishness, intolerance, cruelty, or impatience. I have to say that the impatience is very, very strong with me. Yes, the other ones I'm already a little bit better, but impatience, I suffer from this. When I need something, I want it at that minute, and this is not good. It's not good, Angela. It's not good. You have to control yourself. So I'm here telling you that I am guilty too. So it's very easy for me to talk because I have full understanding of it. But sometimes when this is happening, that's how I feel. But then don't worry, you're never alone, physically and spiritually. So most of the time, my son tells me, Mama, you are so good to tell others to be patient, but you are the most impatient person in the world. Yes, it is true. So then I calm down, I'm like, yes, it's true. I don't need this at this moment. It can wait tomorrow. And then we go building this resistance. We go improving little by little. So whenever it happens, whenever these negative feelings, they happen, whenever it happens, the obsessing spirits bring to their influence, and insanity can happen. So whenever we connect with these negative feelings, the obsessive spirits who have issues with us from the past and are surrounding us many times, we lower our vibration, and they are here. Whoops. And they connect. That's what I always say when we are angry, when we have negative feelings, instead of being here, we and boom, we connect. And that's when we are influenced by bad ideas, because there where the negative spirits are. And if this influence is very strong and we are very weak, they even say that insanity can happen. We have to be careful about that. It's also very well explained in the Spirit's book. So then you may pray in order to find a practical way of freeing yourself. I always say the best way is prayer. Above all, be cooperative. Look for the good. You can help others because you are never alone. Whenever you need help, God is at hand. So we are never alone. So I just mentioned that my son is physically present. But the guardian angels, they are always doing the same job. They are always telling Angela, calm down. You don't need this at this moment. Tomorrow is totally fine. Or whatever is the other issue. But if we are in our craziness, we can't hear it. And that's when we go even deeper. So this is another thing to be very careful. So the inferior spirits must become a true man before becoming an angel. So the inferior spirits, the obsessors, they are just our brothers and sisters who committed many mistakes and did not repent yet because they do not understand they were wrong. They many times think they were right and something happened for that and everybody is guilty and they are the victim and they keep doing this, keeping having this type of thoughts. That's why they don't improve. So this is the problem. So all these called devils are human beings. Let us bless them, give them more love. So in Spiritism, we understand there are no devils. There are just inferior spirits, brothers and sisters that did not understand what they need to do to be a better person. And one of the main things is forgiveness. So if you have issues with someone right now, if your heart is like aching when you think about that person, like so angry, let it go. It doesn't matter what this person did for you. Let it go, because if that person did something bad to you, the law of cause and effect will come one day or later. And even if it's not in this lifetime, but we always know that God sees everything. The law of man, the law of society, a lot of times don't see it. And a lot of times it will not appear. But God knows everything. And one day, whatever this person did will come. And this person will have to pay the consequences of it. So relax, let it go, do your best. Do your best to be able to be forgiven, because this will help you. So I didn't even see had comments here. So let me see here. We have such a short time. So Matthew said, but sometimes technological advancement is scary, especially with automation replacing many jobs. Yes, Matthew, I understand that. But what we have to understand is that because of the technological things is happening very fast, we all have to improve ourselves. So when I was in law school 1,000 years ago, I remember my college, my university was huge and had many elevators. And it still had a man in the elevator pressing the button for us. So we were like, I don't know, 30 people in the elevator. So I remember he asking numbers and we were telling the numbers and he's pressing. But it was an automatic elevator, very modern. In the past, the elevators were old, that I need to press the button, you need to pull like a metal gate to turn over something. So that job was required. And this specific day, I was with my criminal law teacher. I loved criminal law. That's what I specialized myself. So I left with him, and then he told me, Angela, do you know the man that works in the elevator? I said, yes, he's so friendly. And then he said, that man already worked there when I was a student here. And I was like, what? Because he graduated from law school, then he went to do his master's degree, then he went to become a judge, then he became no, he didn't, he was not a judge, he was a prosecutor, then he became the head of the prosecutors of the state and then federal. So my teacher is very famous nowadays. And he was saying, I already spoke to him. If he does not learn a different profession, soon he will be out of job. And this is true. So I know it's for us, it's like, oh, but poor thing, he never learned anything, but we cannot stop in time. This I understand too. Imagine, in the past, we had that heavy machines that we had to do, typewriters, you know, pa, pa, pa. So painful. I remember my fingers were like hurting. And then suddenly we got laptops that you do like, and we had to adapt in order to learn. I remember the first time I took, I was like, I'm going to break the keyboard. So we have to adapt, we have to learn, we have to invest in ourselves. So yes, we have to know that soon thousands of jobs will disappear, but thousands of jobs will be created. So we have to understand, if my job disappears, what can I do to replace it? What can I study? What part-time job can I get in order to still have some kind of income? So this also boosts our intellectual, boosts our a sense of survival. Because in the moment that you imagine, I might be out of work, I need to do something else, and then you search for it. You try, and don't say, oh, but the poor people, they have no chance. We all have a chance, but yes, it's more difficult for them. It's more challenging for them. But when we want, we can always do something. We can always improve in some way. What we can't be is stagnated, like, no, I just know how to do this and I want to do this until the end. And this is the problem, until the end. And maybe the end is too late, because then you can't change. This is the problem. Let me just read quickly the comments. The negativity, the negative thoughts are the door for the obsession. Yes, they are. We have to be so careful. So it's so dangerous. And then you also said, the book says we need to pray in order to find the practical ways of feel free in yourself, be cooperative and look for good. Yes, when we pray, we calm down, we kind of we relax, we feel better, and then we actually connect with something more important than ourselves. And it's 9:58. I had to read the gospel, but I went telling stories and I end up not really doing my job correctly. So the title today was chapter 9, obedience. Look at my clock. Was obedience and resignation. Very, very, very important for us to be obedient and resignate, and very challenging. So what I'm going to do is, because we only have to comment about obedience, resignation, then we have to comment about anger. Okay, so this was meant to be, was providential, because we have more 2 classes. So it's okay. I will not comment today, because next week I will comment about obedience and resignation. And the following one, that will be the last one, I will comment about anger. That's another very tough feeling. And then in 2 weeks, we start a new chapter with the help of Nora and Teresa. We will start chapter 10. Blessed are the merciful. Are you merciful? Think about what is merciful, and think about if you are or if you need help to become a little bit more merciful. So let's bring Marcio. So, my friend, I hope you enjoyed the study tonight.
Yeah.
And so many stories were said. But as I mentioned, I couldn't do the gospel, but it's actually providential because we have 2 classes and we have 2 items to talk in the gospel. So I will do this in the following weeks. So now, Marcio, it's your time. So now we are going to finalize listening to your prayer.
Okay, my friends, I ask you to bring your thoughts to a beautiful place. Can be a place you know or somewhere in the universe, in this world, where God is every single space that there is. We are very grateful for this beautiful evening where we were all together trying to acquire a little bit more knowledge and share some of our thoughts and feelings. Bring a little bit of the teachings of our beautiful Master Jesus that with so much simplicity gave so much to the people, and still bring nowadays all this resource to find hope, to find some way to understand life and to be in a better place. We are very thankful for this possibility we have to look for and to follow the guidelines of the Master. And above all, the Spiritists that more recently brought us such a great path to follow, and there is a real light at the end of all the sorrows and all the suffering that catch our hearts, our lives, our problems. Thank you very much, all the spirits that were present, somehow bringing us support, knowledge, and the incarnates and incarnates. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and we can, if we can, to add a little bit of love, a little bit of the best we can give fraternity, and I think we'll be adding to the world, to the universe, a little stars every day, every action that we make a little for. And as we know, the good deeds will add to a great, and we all will be able to be part of this greatness that's the universe of God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank all the angels, thank all the spirits, and thank we all that we have shared that moment, very precious moments. Thank you. Good night.
So be it. Very good, my friend. Thank you. Thank you so much for participating with all of us here. And thank you so much, all of you that were here with us tonight. We could share our thoughts. I hope you feel this love. I hope you will have an end of a week that will be great, relaxing. And if you can, please put your alarm in your cell phones, and let's keep praying for the planet every night at 10 p.m. Just 1 minute to give love and to receive love. We all need it. So thank you, and I will be seeing you guys next Thursday. Bye. Bye, Márcio. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys soon.
Bye, everybody.